Hi there, this is the fifth in our series of video-based revision quizzes or tests to help AQA business students test their knowledge of the specification. And with these questions we're just looking at the theories and models across year 1 and year 2, so no need for a calculator on these. This is just going to be a straight quiz of your understanding of those theories and models from the 2 years of study. A quick reminder, we're trying to beat the average score last year, which was just short of 10. So can you get 10 or more of these correct? What we'll do is we'll pose the question, pause the video when prompted, and then when you've worked out your answer, press play again to see whether you got the right answer. We'll try to explain briefly how the answer is, the way it is as well. Keep your own score, see how you get on. Let's make a start with question 1. According to the experience curve model, a business is most likely to achieve lower unit costs. If it is, here are the 4 options. Pause the video, make your selection. And hopefully you've had a chance to have a think about those 4 options, and if you chose answer B, you will be correct. The experience curve is all about reasons why unit cost, or the research that suggested that unit costs would fall in certain situations. And the research behind the experience curve suggested that it was businesses that were market leaders and that were trying to improve their market standing and leadership position that were most likely to achieve low unit costs because of the experience, the expertise that they gained. Moving on to question 2. According to Greiner's model of growth, the first 3 phases of growth a business is likely to experience are what? Which of these 4 options? Pause the video, make your selection. And hopefully you've had a chance to work through that selection of 3 different terms there. The correct answer in this case, if you know Greiner's model of growth, is answer A. There it is, the model in a small diagram there on the screen. Don't forget the model suggested there will be 5 crises that occur as a business goes through the 6 phases of growth. Now don't forget, not every business goes through those phases or suffers those crises, but in terms of MCQs that test this model, make sure you know the 6 phases and the 5 crises. And so the answer is A, creativity, direction and delegation were the first 3. Moving on to question 3 now. Unilever is a multinational business. To be successful, Unilever believes it needs to have a high responsiveness to local market needs and have a high degree of global integration. According to Bartlett and Ghoshal, the appropriate strategy for Unilever would be what? Have a look at the 4 options, make your choice. Okay, let's have a look. Bartlett and Ghoshal model, one of those classic matrix models that divides the world into 4 different strategies, 4 different approaches. We know 2 or 3 of those. And in case of Bartlett and Ghoshal here, the answer is D, a transnational strategy. A strategy that's required where a business like Unilever needs to be highly sensitive to the need to respond to local market needs, tailoring their range, their wide product portfolio of cosmetics and, well, consumer goods of all sorts. To meet the needs, the local needs of each market, but also the need to be highly efficient, to have high degrees of global integration, particularly in relation to manufacturing and information processing. So the answer is a transnational strategy, answer D. Moving on now to question 4, and this is one of the 2-statement question formats, where I'll give you 2 statements, work out for each whether you think the answer is true or false, and then having made that combination, you can choose from answer A, B, C, or D. Here are the 2 statements. Number 1, a key feature of Kaplan and Norton's balanced scorecard approach to performance measurement is that it focuses on financial measures. Statement 2, a feature of Kaplan and Norton's balanced scorecard approach to performance measurement is that it encourages a short-termist approach. What do you think of those 2? Are they true, false? And then choose the answer. Pause the video first, make your selection. So with these questions, the trick is not to think about A, B, C and D, but to systematically work through the 2 statements and make your selection. Well, the answer is D. They're both false. A key feature of the balanced scorecard is it's much more than just financial measures. financial measures are just one part of the 4 perspectives that Kaplan and Norton suggested a business should look at. Therefore, statement 1 is false. And similarly, statement 2 is also false. It was very much Kaplan and Norton's intention that the balanced scorecard should encourage a business to think not just in terms of short-term objectives and decisions, particularly dominated by financial issues, but to think more long-term. And that's why many of the key performance indicators in the customer, the organisational and internal processes perspectives are very much long-term in nature. So they're both false, answer D. Moving on now to question 5. According to the theory of strategic drift, the third phase, where a business's strategy diverges from its external environment, is what? Have a look at these 4, pause the video and see if you can work out the right answer. And the answer here, if you remember the model of strategic drift, is A, flux. There's the model, just paste it into the window there. 4 phases of strategic drift. Initially, just incremental change. The strategy is a little bit cut adrift from the external environment, but then as it drifts further apart, strategic drift happens, and then we get to a phase of flux where the business tries to make some adjustments to strategy to take account of the drift, and it gets to a stage at the end of the flux where it either makes a transformational change that gets it back on track, or the business dies. But the third phase there is flux. Hopefully you got that one right. Don't worry if you didn't. Try this one. Question number 6. Vue Entertainment operates cinemas in the UK and Europe. It has introduced a loyalty card to encourage its existing customers to visit their local Vue cinema more often. According to Ansoff Matrix, this is what kind of strategy? Make your choice from the 4 classic Ansoff strategies. Pause the video and then resume when you're ready to check your answer. And in this case, and correctly, the answer is C, market penetration. And don't forget, the first sitting of AQA paper 1, 67% of students got the question on Ansoff wrong. And therefore, I don't know, who knows, maybe another question similar, maybe something like this might appear this time round or next time around. Why is that? Well, the clue in the question is that the Vue is trying to encourage existing customers. So we know that that's existing markets, existing customers. It's either going to be market penetration or product development. Well, a loyalty card isn't a new product development, is it? It's trying to encourage people to buy more of the existing product, to visit the cinema more often. Therefore, it's an existing product to existing customers and markets. Therefore, market penetration, answer C. Let's have a go now at question 7. In which 2 categories of the Boston Matrix are products most likely to generate cash inflows? Here are your combinations. Have a think, pause the video. And if you've had a go at thinking about that one, testing your knowledge of the Boston Matrix, hopefully you selected answer B, stars and cash cows. Well, cash cows is obvious, isn't it? Those are the products that have a high market share, high relative market share compared with the competition. They may be in a mature or even declining market, but they are cash generative. They generate strong cash flows as a consequence of their high market share. And similarly, the next category most likely to generate cash inflows are stars. They should be, they have a high market share, but they are also in high growth markets, therefore likely to be profitable. And profit should, in that situation, be throwing out high cash inflows. Question marks and definitely dogs are the least likely to generate cash inflows. Question 8. The 3 elements that are added to the traditional marketing mix of 4 Ps to turn them into the extended marketing mix of 7 Ps are what? What are the 3 extra elements? Can you select the right answer there, please? And if we're pausing the video, sorry, playing the video again now, you're back with us. Did you select answer B? Because that would be right. It was the 3 extra Ps. The people, those involved in the delivery of the product or service, the process by which the product and service is executed, is delivered, and also the physical environment in which the product or service is delivered. Three critical parts of marketing mix based on the extended mix model. Question 9 now. There's the model, by the way. Question 9. A business wants to compete using a strategy of cost leadership. This strategy is most likely to succeed where the business is experiencing a combination of what? Have a look at these combinations and see which is the most appropriate answer. Pause the video, work it out. Okay, so the business wants to compete using cost leadership. That's Porter's generic strategies. If it's most likely to succeed, what is the right combination? Well, the answer is D. Why is that? Well, high capacity utilization would suggest lower unit costs. That's often a feature, isn't it, of high capacity utilization. We're making the maximum use of our productive output. Therefore, we don't have spare capacity. Our costs of production or operations are being spread over as many units as possible. And also, which is good for cost leadership, lower unit costs, and also economies of scale. And the reason why those are important is that cost leadership is where the business is trying to compete in a large or broad market on the basis of cost. Therefore, economies of scale, where unit costs fall as output rises, are going to be particularly important. So that was the most appropriate combination for that strategy. Answer D. Moving on, 2/3 of the way through now. Question 10. Have a look at this one. An industry experiences a significant lowering of barriers to entry as a result of technological change. According to Porter's 5 forces model, a consequence of this is likely to be what? Which of these 4 combinations of consequences? Pause the video and think carefully about this one. Press play when you're ready to check your answer. Porter's 5 forces, a model all about the nature of competitive rivalry, and it also was used by Porter to help predict the level of industry profits or indicate the level of profits. And in this case, the correct answer, hopefully you selected C. We're told the industry has experienced a significant lowering of barriers to entry, which makes it more likely possible that there are going to be many new entrants, new competitors coming into the market. Therefore, you would expect a higher intensity of rivalry. Many new competitors, all fighting for the same pot of profit and revenue. Even if the market is growing, that is likely to result in lower industry profits as people fight for the revenues, fight for demand. So answer C. Question 11 now. According to Handy's model of culture, in which type of culture is power and status determined by a person's position in the hierarchy? Which of these 4 is it? Pause the video, make your selection. And if you know Handy's model, the 4 models, the 4 types of culture, you'll have spotted that the answer in this case is B, the role culture. The role culture very much associated with a hierarchical organisation where your position, your authority, your influence is very much determined by where you sit within the hierarchy. A role culture. Question 12 now. A manager in a business allows the team to develop options and decide on actions defined by the manager. According to the Tannenbaum-Schmidt continuum, this management style is classified as what? Here are your 4 options. Make your selection now. What do we think? Well, obviously we need to know what the Tannenbaum-Schmidt continuum is here to get this right, and if you remember it and remember which end of the continuum this particular management style is, you'll have selected answer D, which is joins. Here's a reminder, don't forget that the continuum effectively tells a story for you as you go from left to right. At the left hand side, very much about the manager making every decision and simply telling staff what the decision is. And as you move from left to right, the management style becomes increasingly democratic, involving subordinates. Right to the end there, where the manager basically allows her team or his team to choose the options as well as develop them. under some guidance, a very democratic approach. So the answer is joins, the fourth phase there of that management style continuum. Question 13. Almost there. Let's have a look at this one. According to Hackman and Oldham's model of job design, 2 of the 5 characteristics that can determine the level of job satisfaction of a worker are what? Here are the possible answers. Make your choice now. Pause the video and then start when you're ready. Hackman and Oldham, their work looked at the factors of job design that would influence job satisfaction, and they identified 2 of the 5 characteristics as being task significance and autonomy, along with task identity, job feedback, and also skill variety, the differences in things that we ask people to do at work that gives them more satisfaction. The more variety of skills, the greater the satisfaction. So that was the correct answer. If you knew Hackman and Oldham's model, hopefully you selected A. 2 to go. Question 14 now. This is quite a tough one, so think carefully. A business decides to position its product based on the focused differentiation strategy category in Bowman's strategy clock. This position will involve a combination of what? Here are the 4 options. So pause the video and work out your selection. And if you remember Bowman's strategy clock, the different positions that are based around the 2 dimensions of perceived value and price, well, focused differentiation is over towards the top right. It's position 5, often adopted by luxury brands where they can hopefully get away with charging a relatively high price as a result of delivering, from the point of view of the consumer, a high perceived value. Of course, there's a danger of charging too high a price compared with the perceived value, position 6, and somebody might be able to undercut you. But position 5, focus differentiation, is aims to be a combination of high price and high perceived value. So answer C. And we're almost there. Question 15. This is a tough one, so take care on this one, particularly if you've got a high score and you want to finish well. Here we go. Question 15. It's a 2-statement question, so here are your 2 statements. Statement 1. Lewin's force field analysis model is concerned with the factors that are driving and resisting change. Statement 2. Kotter and Schlesinger's model identified 6 causes of resistance to change and 4 ways in which resistance to change could be overcome. Work out whether those statements are true or false and then work out the right combination. Pause the video and then start again to discover the final answer. Okay, had to be careful with this one. Well, the correct answer is B. Statement 1 is true. Yeah, Lewin's force field model is all about trying to score, to assess the forces that are driving change in the business, but also the forces that would be resisting change. And where does the balance of those forces lie? Absolutely true. Statement 2, however, a bit of a trick one, but it's not true. Kotter and Schlesinger did indeed identify causes of resistance to change and ways resistance can be overcome, but there were 4 causes of resistance to change and 6 ways in which resistance could be overcome. So that statement isn't quite true. In fact, it is false. So the answer is B, a combination of true, then false. Okay, there we go. We've had a go at 15 quite tricky MCQs there, just on the theories and models. Hopefully you found that useful. Have a go at some of the other tests. We've got more to come. You'll find them on our YouTube channel, but also on the TutorDo website as well. And you can register for the live webinars by going to the TutorDo website. We'll provide a link shortly. Thank you.